What happens when the echoes of the past refuse to fade? When a moment in time becomes a question mark, forever suspended in a fog of uncertainty.
Every mystery has a story, but not every story has an answer. Every week, we uncover the chilling cases that have haunted investigators for years. Unsolved disappearances, cold cases, and the darkest secrets waiting to be discovered. Are you ready to uncover the truth? Join us, if you dare. The Unsolved Chronicle.
This is the story of the Enugu Massacre, a tragedy that left a city scarred and a nation searching for answers. But this isn't just a tale of what happened. It's a journey into the shadows of history, where the truth remains elusive, and the victims' voices still whisper in the silence. In the heat of the Nigerian Civil War, a quiet city became the stage for a horror that defies explanation. Hundreds of lives were taken in a single, brutal event. Yet, decades later, the why and the how remain buried beneath layers of time and silence. Was it a calculated act of war, a tragic mistake, or something far more sinister? The answers lie somewhere in the haze of history, waiting for someone to piece them together. Enugu, 1967. A city caught in the crossfire of the Nigerian Civil War. The Biafran secession had ignited a conflict that would claim over 1 million lives. But nothing could prepare the people of Enugu for what was to come. The victims were ordinary citizens, men, women, and children going about their lives in a time of extraordinary chaos. Among them were families like the Nwosu clan, who had lived in Enugu for generations, and the young students of the Holy Ghost College, whose futures were cut short. On October 30, 1967, Nigerian federal troops entered Enugu, which had been under Biafran control. What followed was a massacre that left an estimated 700 civilians dead. The bodies were discovered in the streets, in homes, and near the city's central market. The news spread quickly, shocking the world and deepening the divide between the warring factions. Witnesses spoke of soldiers going door to door, of gunfire echoing through the night, and of families fleeing in terror. But amidst the chaos, one question remained: why? Was this a deliberate act of retribution, a tragic case of mistaken identity, or something else entirely? In the aftermath, both the Nigerian government and the Biafran leadership traded accusations. The Nigerian authorities claimed the deaths were the result of Biafran propaganda, while Biafran officials insisted it was a deliberate massacre by federal troops. International observers were denied access, and the truth was buried beneath layers of conflicting narratives. Key dates in the investigation include November 1967, when the Red Cross attempted to enter Enugu but was blocked, and January 1968, when the first official report was released, a document that raised more questions than it answered. The case remains officially unsolved, with no individuals ever held accountable. The victims' families were left to grieve in silence, their stories overshadowed by the larger narrative of war. Theories and oddities. Theory 1, the retribution hypothesis. One theory suggests the massacre was an act of retribution by Nigerian federal troops. Enugu had been a symbol of Biafran resistance, and its capture was a significant victory. Some investigators believe the killings were a deliberate message, a warning to other Biafran-held territories. Supporting this theory are witness accounts of soldiers targeting civilians indiscriminately. One puzzling detail is the lack of resistance in the city at the time of the massacre. If Enugu was a strategic target, why were there no reports of fighting? This has led to speculation that the troops were under orders to make an example of the city. However, contradictions remain. The Nigerian government has consistently denied any wrongdoing, and no official documents have surfaced to corroborate this theory. Was this a rogue operation, or were the orders given from higher up? Theory 2, the friendly fire tragedy. Another theory posits that the massacre was a tragic case of friendly fire. Enugu was a city in flux, with allegiances shifting daily. Some believe the federal troops mistook civilians for Biafran combatants, leading to the tragic loss of life. This theory is supported by the chaotic nature of the conflict. Witnesses recall seeing civilians wearing clothing similar to Biafran uniforms, and the city's layout, with narrow streets and hidden alleys, may have contributed to the confusion. One oddity is the lack of communication between the troops and local leaders, which could have prevented the tragedy. However, this theory raises questions of its own. Why were no efforts made to verify the identities of those being targeted? And why has no one come forward to confirm this version of events? Theory 3, the foreign involvement speculation. A more speculative theory suggests foreign involvement in the massacre. The Nigerian Civil War was a proxy conflict, with global powers backing both sides. Some believe mercenaries or foreign operatives played a role in the Enugu killings, either to destabilize the region or to further their own agendas. This theory is supported by reports of unidentified soldiers seen in the city before the massacre. Witnesses described men in unfamiliar uniforms, speaking languages other than English or Igbo. One puzzling detail is the sudden disappearance of these figures after the event. However, this theory remains largely unproven. No concrete evidence of foreign involvement has surfaced, and it relies heavily on circumstantial accounts. Was this a global conspiracy, or simply a rumor born of war's chaos? Case status plus call to action. Today, the Enugu Massacre remains an open wound in Nigeria's history. The case is still listed as unsolved, with no official resolution in sight. Recent efforts to digitize archives and revisit witness testimonies have sparked renewed interest, but the truth remains elusive. What detail lingers in your mind? Which theory feels closest to the truth, or do you have another? Share your respectful thoughts below. Sometimes, the coldest cases thaw with fresh eyes. In memory of the victims of the Enugu Massacre, not a headline, but lives. Not a mystery to solve, but people to remember. Their stories deserve to be told, and their voices heard.